Laying on the left side of the bed, Ryan hugged the pillows, which were kept in the center of the bed to create a boundary between the two of them. Taehyung, you don't need to put this between Ryan. Not one nor two, but four pillows. It's been 7 months, but still I'm not comfortable with this. Ryan, that's not my headache. Taehyung inhaled the air deeply and shook his head. I can't win against you. Have a good sleep. Good night. Ryan, night. She closed her eyes and soon she nodded off, while Taehyung was staring at nothingness. Ryan, but Dad, you know I'm not ready to get married now. Taehyung, yes, Mr. John, she's right. We are not a match either. Mr. John, look, my sweetie, I don't know if I will wake up tomorrow morning or not. I want you to be in safe hands. I can't trust anyone else but Taehyung. And Taehyung, you are like my son. I always saw you as my son, and now I'm asking you a favor. Taehyung, please don't say it like that. You are also like my father, and you don't need to worry about anything. Ryan, but Dad, Mr. John, sweetie, Appa is not well. Try to understand my situation. This is the last thing I'm asking to you. Please, it's my last wish to see you getting married. Mr. John's eyes become wet. Ryan, Appa, don't cry. I will fulfill your wish. Please just don't cry. And don't talk about leaving me alone. I just have you. I can't lose you, Appa. Ryan was also crying while the young's eyes were also teary, but he turned back and walked out of room. Ryan and Mr. John were crying, hugging each other. After 2 days, Ryan was sitting in Taehyung's bedroom in her wedding gown. The marriage was very simple with less guests. She used to know Taehyung for more than 13 years and they were little frank with each other. But now she was sitting cracking her fingers. She turned her head to the door where Taehyung was standing looking her. Closing his eyes, he composed himself for a second and closed the door. Walking near bed, he sat on bed keeping some distance from her. He cleared his throat before saying, "You don't need to be worried about this marriage." She lowered her eyes on her hands where a beautiful diamond ring was resting on her ring finger. Taehyung, I know it's hard for you. You wasn't ready for this marriage. So wasn't me. But it was Mr. John's wish and you know that I never said no to him. He isn't in good condition and I didn't want it to make him more worried about you. Ryan, I know, she said surely. Taehyung, you can do whatever you want. There will be no restrictions for you. From my side, you can continue your work as a model. I have no issue with it. But just remember one thing. Whenever you think you found someone with whom you can spend your life, you can tell me. We will end this marriage. She looked in his eyes in disbelief. Taehyung, and one more thing. Do not fall in love with me. I am way older than you, so I will live with you to protect you and always support you like I always did. But just don't fall in love. That's it. Ryan was listening him holding her breath, but his words were hurting her. Ryan, don't even think that I will fall for you. You know that I also agreed for this marriage just to make my Appa at ease. And in a case if you find a perfect woman for yourself, then feel free to end the marriage. And yeah, don't worry. I won't fall for you. Mark my words. Assuring him, she got up of bed and walked to dressing room while Taehyung was sitting there silently. His gaze dropped to his hand. Touching the wedding ring, he sighed heavily, and closing his eyes, he fell back on bed. Author's Beauty. Ryan was her parents' only child. Her mother died giving birth to her, but her father never got married again. He raised Ryan by the help of a nanny. Her father and all the house helpers always treated her like a princess. She grew up as a beautiful, smart, kind-hearted, and a strong girl. She was beautiful, so she got different offers from different companies. She chose one of them and became a fashion model. Taehyung was also a businessman. During a business meeting, he met Mr. John, and in the first meeting, they became friends. Even though Mr. John was way older than Taehyung, but still, it happened. They started meeting each other very frequently, and that's how Taehyung met Ryan. Mr. John always thought in the face of Taehyung, God gave him a son. Taehyung and Ryan became a little frank with each other, but Taehyung never saw her as a woman. But on the other side, in Ryan's heart, there was something hidden for him. But she wasn't aware of it until Taehyung told her not to fall in love with him. Everything was normal. She was happy and busy in her modeling career, and Taehyung and Mr. John were busy in their business. But suddenly, Mr. John became ill. After all the tests, doctor diagnosed him with stage 4 blood cancer. Doctors told them they cannot do anything for him. Mr. John was worried about his only daughter. He wanted her to be safe, so he asked Ryan and Taehyung to get married, which they did. After 3 days of their marriage, Mr. John passed away. Ryan was really sad. A week passed and slowly she tried to live a normal life. Taehyung was also sad, but he hid his emotions to comfort Ryan. Soon life came back to track. It was Ryan's fashion show. Taehyung was also sitting in people when Ryan walked on the ramp. Everyone's eyes were fixed on her beautiful, milk-like white body, which was covered in just 2 pieces of clothes. It was a fashion show. The man sitting with Taehyung was drooling over Ryan. The man wasn't aware that Taehyung is Ryan's husband. Man, don't you think she's fire, man? I barely wanted to have a taste of her. Just look at her curves. Her body's just perfect. Taehyung's hands clenched into fists when he heard that man's opinion about her. Taehyung, you better shut your mouth or I will treat you in my way. Man looked at him with confused face and said, Oh, I understand now. You want the same as me, right? Don't worry, man. If we ever get a chance, we can share her. Don't be mad at me. I know she's too hot to handle. Taehyung grabbed his collar and pulled him close to himself. Taehyung, I said shut up. She is my wife, and if I heard one more word from your filthy mouth for her, then I won't hesitate to make you my punching bag. Leaving his collar, Taehyung pushed him back, while Man was looking him with his mouth open in shock. Taehyung got up and without staying there one more second, he left the home. After the show, Ryan asked her manager about Taehyung. Manager told her he left during the show. It was first time he left before her show ended. She shrugged her shoulder and sat in her car for back to home. But as she reached home and entered in bedroom, she saw something really shocking. Her eyes were bulging out at the scene.